All right, let's dive into one of the most tempting and, let's be honest, one of the most misunderstood parts of DeFi, providing liquidity. You see those insane APYs, right? You deposit your tokens, you're dreaming of all that sweet passive income. But then, something just doesn't add up.
This is the moment pretty much every liquidity provider has. You check your position, and even after you've been earning fees, you realize you would have actually made more money just by doing nothing at all, holding. It's confusing, it's frustrating, and it has a name: impermanent loss. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain and figure this thing out once and for all.
So if it's so risky, why would anyone even bother providing liquidity in the first place? Well, it all starts with a really seductive promise: earning a tiny slice of every single trade that happens in a pool. Think about a decentralized exchange, like Uniswap. There's no big company in the middle matching buyers and sellers. Instead, there are these big pools of tokens. And you, the liquidity provider, or LP, you can deposit a pair of assets, let's say ETH and a stablecoin like USDC. And every single time a trader uses your money to make a swap, boom, you get paid a little fee. On paper, it sounds like a fantastic deal, doesn't it?
Now, the magic that makes all of this work is something called an automated market maker, or an AMM. It's basically a smart contract that uses a simple math formula to keep the pool balanced. So when a trader buys ETH from the pool, they're adding USDC. The amount of ETH in the pool goes down, USDC goes up. The AMM just automatically adjusts the price. And this constant automatic rebalancing, this is the absolute key to this whole story. And yeah, it's pretty much where our problems begin.
Because while you're busy collecting those little trading fees, there's a much bigger force working against you. It's a silent killer that can just erase your gains without you even noticing until it's too late. This is the hidden catch that trips up so many people.
And here it is: impermanent loss. To put it simply, it is the difference in value between your crypto sitting inside that liquidity pool versus what you would have had if you had just kept those exact same tokens in your own wallet. It's a direct comparison to the easiest strategy in the world: just holding.
Okay, but the name itself is so misleading, right? Impermanent. It sounds temporary. Like it's no big deal, it'll probably just fix itself. But is that what really happens?
So here's the critical point. The loss is only impermanent if, and this is a huge if, the prices of your two tokens return to the exact same ratio they had when you first deposited them. The second you withdraw your funds at any other price, that loss gets locked in. It becomes very, very permanent.
All right, enough theory. To really feel the sting of this, you've got to see the math. So let's just walk through a really simple example and see exactly how this sneaky loss shows up.
Okay, let's say you're starting with $2,000. You deposit one ETH, which is worth $1,000 at the time, and you pair it with 1,000 USDC, also worth $1,000. Nice and easy. Your initial investment is $2,000.
Now let's imagine we're in a bull market. The price of ETH doubles to $2,000. So what happens to your money? Well, that totally depends on what you did with it. So let's check out the two scenarios. If you had just held on, your one ETH is now worth $2,000, and you still got your 1,000 USDC. Your total value? $3,000. Simple. But in the liquidity pool, remember that AMM? It was automatically selling your ETH as the price went up. So now you have less ETH and more USDC. Your total value is only $2,828. That $172 difference, that 5.7% gap, that, my friends, is your impermanent loss, now locked in for good.
And what is so important to get is that this loss isn't a straight line. It gets exponentially worse. A 2x price change, like we saw, creates about a 5.7% loss compared to just holding. But a 5x price change, that creates a massive 25.5% loss. The more the prices of your two tokens pull apart, the deeper the hole gets.
I love this quote because it just perfectly nails the painful reality of it all. The AMM basically becomes a trader that is actively betting against you. When your asset is rocketing up, the pool sells it. When your other asset is tanking, the pool buys more of it for you. The system is literally designed to work against momentum.
Okay, so hearing all of this, you might be thinking providing liquidity is just always a terrible idea. Well, not necessarily, but you have to be really, really strategic about it. So let's get into the playbook for how to do this the smart way. Look, the simple rule of thumb is this: the trading fees you earn have to be more than the impermanent loss you suffer. And that really only happens in a few specific situations. You want to look for high-volume pairs that are just cranking out fees. Even better,
Find pairs that are stable or super correlated, like two different stablecoins, or maybe wrapped ETH and regular ETH. That keeps impermanent loss to a minimum. What you have to avoid are the volatile, low-volume pairs. That's the absolute worst of both worlds. And hey, if you're super bullish on one token, why would you let a pool automatically sell it for you? Just hold it.
Seriously, before you even think about putting $1 in, run through this checklist. Number 1, is there enough trading volume here to actually generate some real fees? 2, are these assets basically pegged to each other so they won't fly apart in price? 3, use a calculator tool and check. Have the fees historically beaten the impermanent loss for this specific pool? And 4, ask yourself, am I fundamentally okay holding both of these tokens for the long haul? Because the pool's going to make sure you do. If the answer to any of these is no, you should probably just walk away.
Okay, that was a lot. Let's boil this all down to the absolute must-know takeaways you need to remember before you ever think about depositing into a liquidity pool again.
Here's the bottom line. Providing liquidity is always a trade-off. You're earning fees, but you're taking on the risk of impermanent loss. The more the prices move, the bigger that loss gets. For you to be profitable, your fee income must be greater than your impermanent loss. And frankly, the data shows that for most people in volatile pairs, it just isn't. The smartest plays are usually the most boring ones, high-volume, stable pairs. And always use analytics tools to model out your position before you deposit. Do not go in blind.
So when it's all said and done, it comes down to this one simple question. Just think of impermanent loss as the price you are paying for the privilege of earning trading fees. You have to do the math and ask yourself, for your portfolio and the assets you're choosing, is that price really worth paying?
All right, that's a wrap for this one. Now that you have a handle on one of the biggest economic risks in DeFi, it's time we tackle the technical ones. So join us for our next explainer, where we're going to dive deep into smart contract risk, how to read an audit, and, most importantly, how to protect your assets from hacks and bugs. We'll see you then.